Hey everybody, in this video we're going to be talking about Stephen King's legendary The Stand in the original 1978 version. We'll show you what to look for when trying to identify first US and the incredibly rare and hard to find in nice shape first UK edition of the book.
Okay, so today we're going to be taking a look at the first US edition of The Stand. The Stand was published in 1978 by Doubleday as a trade hardcover edition. This is what the book looks like. Okay, it is actually quite a nice book. It's quarter bound in cloth with sort of mustard yellow boards, front and back. The price on the jacket is $12.95. Underneath the letters TS, which stands for The Stand. It's got some really nice deckled edges, which I really dig. If you want to check to see if your copy is a first edition, you look on the copyright page and you will see at the bottom, first edition. To check and see if it's a first printing, like the other Doubledays, you're going to go all the way to the back to the last page, 823, and there will be a code in the gutter, which I can't quite show you without cracking it, but it says T39. Let's see if I can open it a little bit better, but yeah, it's right there. I'm not going to crack my spine for you, but that's what you're looking for, T39. So T stands for 1978, and 39 is the 39th week of 1978. So toward the end of the year, autumn, and that number will go up as the book was reprinted and republished. So that is the first American trade hardcover edition of The Stand by Doubleday. Subsequently, the book was published in England by New English Library as a trade hardcover. This is what the book looks like. If you're asking me my opinion, I love the American artwork on the front, much better than this generic lightning bolt. It says nothing about the book at all. Kind of lame, in my opinion, but this is the book. As with most of these NEL books, the binding is kind of plain. It's just black boards with gold foil stamping on the spine. The jacket price is $6.95 UK. And the copyright page will have no indication of printing. I actually don't know if this went through multiple printings. I'm sure it must have, but I've never seen one that wasn't a first printing. So this is what you're looking for when you look for a first UK trade edition of the book, The Stand.
Thanks as always to Noah for showing those amazing first edition copies of The Stand. The UK edition, so incredibly rare, like 1,000 copies total were produced, and a whole bunch of those ended up in libraries. The ones that you do see in the wild almost always have egregious condition issues because the jacket was very flimsy and not very durable. But of course, Noah has an amazing pristine copy. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. I went into the interesting backstory of how The Stand came to be in the original publication and then the later expanded edition that was released in 1990. I went into that whole long story in the video for the complete and uncut Stand. But suffice it to say, the nutshell version Stephen King took a long time to write, well, a long time by his standards, very, very thrifty as always by many author standards. But he writes this epic, The Stand. He presents it to Doubleday. They look at it and they're like, nope, it's way too long. Not from any literary concern, not for a quality concern, but simply from a financial concern. It's going to be too expensive to make this book. It's going to be too expensive to sell it. Nobody will want to buy it. We don't care who you are, Mr. Man. Nobody's going to want to pay what we're going to have to charge for this book. It was 1,200 pages, give or take. And they said to him, you need to cut a third. You need to cut 400 pages out of this manuscript. And you do it or we'll do it. So Stephen King did it. And once he was vindicated in a way with the complete and uncut edition, it's really no surprise that that edition has been the one in print, released and re-released in special editions, limited editions ever since. It is as close to his original vision as he wanted to get, with the opportunity to revise and update for the 1990 release. So in a lot of ways, the 1978 original release is more of a footnote. But even with 400 pages cut out, and some might say, it's a very divisive issue, some might say because 400 pages were cut out, he still, this book, legendary, classic, and for a solid 12 years, I mean, if you wanted The Stand, this was The Stand. And it helped build Stephen King's reputation, even in the truncated form. And the debate about which version is better is really a fascinating one. And I think it depends on which you read first. This book is much leaner, even though it comes in at over 800 pages. The complete and uncut includes a lot of vignettes, thumbnail sketches of characters, just a single page where an entire life is wrapped up and a tragic death beautifully portrayed. It builds a world. It includes additional characters. And the 1978 version, sort of, that would be obviously the place to start. Cut out everything that doesn't directly involve the plot and the main characters when you're trying to cut a third of the book. And so as a result, the 1978 edition moves along at a much brisker pace, a much faster clip. People that read this one first and fell in love with it, I've heard the complete and uncut version described as long-winded, over long. The brilliance, the forward momentum, the brilliance of the plot of the truncated version is just lost in all of these unnecessary details. But I read the complete and uncut edition first, and so to me, when I tried to go back and read the truncated version, I really missed all of that richness, all of that world building, and I found reading the truncated version, even though it's 800 pages long, to almost be like reading the Reader's Digest condensed version of one of my favorite novels of all time. So it's probably a debate that has there's no resolution possible. It's just a matter of opinion. But I love the Stephen King history of how the book was originally produced. I think it's really shitty and kind of hilarious in hindsight that Doubleday was like, nope, it's going to be too expensive, nobody's going to want to buy it. And it is really a sweet and very satisfying resolution to the story that 12 years later he was able to re-release The Stand in his original, as close to his original vision as possible. And Doubleday pulled out all the stops, because by then Stephen King was undeniably one of the biggest authors in the world. So the hardcover release is beautiful, of the complete and uncut. It has limited editions, which Noah is going to show in a different video. pulled out all the stops, and it was brilliant and a great way to end the story of the stand, the production story of the stand, and bring it full circle. But this book is still it's still a great piece of the Stephen King puzzle, and definitely one you're going to want to have in your collection. Mine is not a first, it's a later printing. The price on it is $19.95, and I got it just in the last few years at a used bookstore, and $19.99 I think was the price I paid. So even after all these years, I still snagged a copy at close to list price. So it can be done. And if you're after a true first edition of all the Doubledays, the stand is going to be the cheapest. It's the most common, and it's a great place to start when building your first collection of the original 5 Doubledays, just because it'll set you back a few fingers, but not an entire arm and a leg. So anyway, thank you as always to Noah for helping make these videos possible, and thank you to you for watching and for your support. I really, really appreciate it. And wherever you are, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.